In the name of God, the most benevolent and the most merciful, in honor of the system admin and world host to this existential system and world room, from the emergence of all, the conditional realities emerged from the original unconditional moment. There has been around 117 billion human beings, considering a 300,000 year span. 8.1 billion of them are alive right now. We are 7% of all humanity that has existed. What is our aim? The aim has been so far to present meaning in the void unknown, or in the unknown. It appears to us as a void. As the 8.1 billion original class of biological humans, it is obvious to all human beings, that the presence of our biological technology is more ancient than these modern masks of self that we wear. Tonight, one member of the species attempts to remind $8.1 billion simulated senses of self of the original presence to all of this. It is not a riddle that cannot be solved. It's too specifically designed, this existence. It's too specific. As the listener, take your attention to as far back in human history you can fathom. Existence is like a film, a gigantic, long film. It is being directed beyond the actors that find themselves in it. The actors only direct the man-made meaning over nature. And so the soul can try to distract itself with the world, but truth's intensity doesn't go anywhere. I often wonder in how many ways I can be wrong and right. To me, It's the values have changed. It is not a finite realm anymore. I'll explain this. I am no one right now. All that I am to you is a voice. But why is the voice here? Fear not your path, for little do you know all that you will know. This lecture must surpass the ideological entity. I'm bored of the audience. I'm bored of the human archetype to some degree. Go forth, O soul, in the moment, for what else do you have? I have no choice. I am in this moment of existence, and the inner realms and outer realms, may they synchronize towards the synthesis. All I could do is report. This is a report back to the species. This is the findings of one human. We are not in a physical world. The idea of physicality doesn't make sense. A majority of how life is happening is an illusion, and in some sense this illusion is weird that it's here. That means if you are in a simulated realm, what is the protocol? If you're in a realm where the world is true, the protocol is easy, accept the truth. But in a world where it is simulated, only the presence of the simulation can be considered true. More and more, life has changed from being all about how an individual conducts itself in a universal sector, in a world. We have always been higher beings. The presence of mankind is ancient. The bodies are new, and the personalities we think are new, but they're a bit more ancient than the body. It is a human game. In the game, there is win or lose. Intentionally, when I tell you reality is specific, it's specifically designed. It doesn't matter where on earth I would have been born. It's obvious it's human design. It's humanization. It's a human obsession. We are living in the obsession for everything to adjust to the human idea. We are lucky we have not been scolded yet. In my youth, I had visions of myself. At some point, I wanted to be a soccer player. I was inspired by Ronaldinho and Cristiano Ronaldo. I remember at a young age, I saw the film Bicentennial Man. I was inspired to create a factory of robots. My parents can testify at that young age. I was. In all the different things I fathomed, who will I be? Who will I become? There was one angle that was unthinkable. And it's not all the information I had after my youth. The body poetically lives in the territory of a mind that claims itself king as a governing idea. Think of it this way. Your brain is like a city, is like a nation, imagine, okay? And in that nation, there's a population. And so your brain, let's say your brain, your mind space, I want you to imagine it is a nation, and every sense of self you have had so far is a citizen of that nation, of the nation of your awareness. And I want you to realize that the self you identify as usually is in some sense the president of that nation. In other words, out of all the ways your mind has forged selves, there was one self that you chose to govern them all. I caught on to this in earlier talks. I would call it every person has a principle universal philosophy. I dove deeper in a way, in a rogue way, purely alone. I discovered that human consciousness has 4 ways to look at things. Either the value is void, either the value is singular, either the value is dualistic, or the value is infinite. And all human ideology inevitably fits into one of these 4 quadrants, 4 contexts. Every idea. Religious people, they are singularians. Truth is singular for them. Those people who are not religious, they are selves in a world. The main design is dual. And then there are those who are like, yo, man, it's nothing, or they on the other edge of nothing is non-duality. One edge of everything is nothing. The other edge of it is non-duality. It's not nothing. It's that thingness is not prioritized. When I tell you, when I have the audacity to sit in this moment and tell 8.1 billion other souls that there is a presence more ancient than the ideas you have been running your life with, I am blessed. I've had a strange quality since my youth. It's a strange blessing. I see ahead. My ego shares, but it's like the realm is destined to hear my presence. And my task is to not speak to you as a specific person, but to show the realm that our moments are being. Everything is within the experience of existence. Or it's another way of saying, if you ask me, existence is found in my experience. But if you ask someone else other than me, their existence is not found in my experience. It's like the game is way deeper than how we have humanized. This is a very unique lecture. I don't know how often human beings come and talk about what's beyond human. But I am claiming that the whole species is outgrowing all the narratives that have helped it to get this far. I have had my own personal research into human psychology. And I am someone who suffered from self-sabotage. And in some sense also some sort of emotional intrusion in my childhood. In other words, I really looked at what's going on when it comes to human behavior. I understood that everybody's trying to solve the problem conceptually. But if the context is problematic, it doesn't matter how many solutions you attempt. In the same way they say if they make you ask the wrong question, they don't have to worry about your answers. I am now in some strange way semi-convinced, kind of convinced that all of us have been living a lie out of fear, and because we don't know what will replace that space if we don't live dishonestly, we cannot experience a sort of completed lifetime. It's the question of, let me simplify it. 8.1 billion people, they all have different views, but they all ultimately agree that existence is energy. Can we, I'm pretty sure everybody agrees energy exists. Especially when you as a human being experience your energy rise and fall. You know, I had a thought earlier today. Anyways, let me go back to the thing I was saying about psychology, actually. Let me focus on the talk. I'm trying to say, when you look at human psychology, it is limited to human understanding. Pretty much what you're looking at, what's going on here is that there was this unknown world, unknown selves emerged. These unknown selves either evolved or there was some sort of divine intervention or something, you know, that caused these beings to be able to notice that they physically exist as a separate mass than the world. In other words, one of the first great achievements on Earth was a bunch of beings that didn't know they were beings suddenly realizing like they could move their hands, legs, limbs. They became conscious that they are separate from existence. They're existentially existing separate to the rest of existence they find. And our free will gives us our individualism, just so you guys know. People think free will is just ego. No. Like it's limited to ego. No. It is divine. Ultimately, you are an unknown force moving in an unknown place, and these are the strategies of a bewildered psyche. So psychologically speaking, you will see that human beings are living through different senses of self, and they make conclusions. You as a being throughout your life make conclusions. And I'll give you an example. For example, in my youth, I was very introverted and shy. And when I look back at myself, I was not expressing myself enough, you know? But I was hiding it. It was as if like I was embarrassed that I was introverted and shy. So I played this incredible act, this incredible performance of being the minimum required, like social and going along with the theatrics of the moment. In other words, in my youth, others were more real than me. Others' emotions were more real than me. What others were more real than me. Their personalities were more real than me. And I felt like I'm just this chunk of sight, this presence of sight in a room. And this is weird. Okay, I know I experienced this, maybe others are experiencing it too, but I experienced a sort of exile from my childhood. But I participated in my childhood. I was there. You know, I smiled, I laughed, you know, all of this was there. I even had fun, but there was a part of me that could not accept me. So I would say this took years, you know, to realize. But pretty much, I was someone who had accepted and normalized not being a person around others. Okay? Even sometimes now when I speak to people, there's I see them, everything's there, but I no longer expect anything from myself when I speak. Like, I don't know how to say it. So anyways, I'm gonna give you an example. All of me sharing my past with you is to give you an example, okay? I was introverted and shy, and I did not care for my inner self. I cared for my outer self, but I didn't care for my inner self. I was just like an observer in my own life. And nobody snapped me out of it. Nobody shook me. Nobody was like, wake the fuck up. Do you know? This is not healthy. But I lingered like a abandoned soldier in a battlefield. The rest of the army's gone forth. Something's missing. Do you know? I felt like there was a dimness, or there was a force field in my, I don't know how to tell you this, how to explain it any other way than this. But, so I had this conclusion for the longest time: if nobody has cared who I am, do you know, then I am someone who doesn't have value and is not worthy of love. My young brain had assumed that. My child mind, my younger self was like, what the F? I'm trapped behind myself, right? And nobody cares. And wait a minute. It's like even a part of you is like, why don't they care? But then you realize a part of you can't continue suffering. I don't know how people suffer for years. Like, you know, for me, it's like a part of me reaches a point where I don't know, it gives me the cycle. Okay, maybe I should calm down here. So in my youth, a part of me was like, all right, man, do you know, you don't like yourself, so don't care about being yourself. I'm pretty much trying to tell you, my past self came up with a strategy to what I was feeling through it at the time. Now, years may pass, okay? And suddenly, let's say, you know, I don't know, let's say I find someone who loves me. Let's say I find, you know, a wife or a girlfriend or someone who loves me, right? And then I begin to see, as they're showing more love, as they're actually acknowledging me, as they're actually caring for what's behind the hood of the engine of the person. Do you know? It's like, then my brain, here's the self-sabotage. My brain's like, yo, it's normal when nobody cares for you. Somebody caring for you is weird. And then instead of me accepting the love the other gives, I run away. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Acknowledgement of my soul from someone other than me? What is this weird? Like my run away, right? But that's wrong. That's the whole point. Guys, this is one of the most key things to pay attention to in life, okay? That everything is defined by the past. What the F? You see someone, and they're like, what did you do in your past? Little do we know, the question in the future that true people in a true advanced civilization will ask is, how has your attention journeyed in the realm? Like, if I was to hire people for my company, I would not be like, yo, bro, what skill sets do you have? Show me your degrees and certificates. I'd be like, no, dude, when you wake up in the morning, what is real to you out of all the ways there are to look at this life? Because I am telling you, they don't teach this, and a lot of young kids are kind of like suffering without realizing this. Purpose gives meaning. That means, well, how do you give purpose to an empty page? You draw something. It's okay. It might not be a masterpiece, but you draw. Keep drawing. I know that so many moments in life it doesn't make sense, but keep drawing, because why is there a pen in your hand? Why is there consciousness able to engage the realm? I don't want to make this too deep, but the human species takes for granted its ability to engage the realm. That means the cards I was dealt in this cosmos, in the destiny I have had in this life, is legit and upside, everything becoming flipping. I went from being this introverted, shy entity too afraid to care for itself even. It was okay watching itself get destroyed even. To someone who realized it is not even an issue of people, that the true states that we as a species must confront surpass the human archetype. Do you understand this, oh humanity? It is beyond human, and now the responsibility level of all of our accumulated forces, it is as if like they're like Mr. Within, your species. Imagine they're like, Mr. Within, your species is gonna get invaded. What are you gonna do? Legit, if right now I was like a general of humanity and they were like, the species is about to be invaded, what do you do? I would say first, an intelligent solution. I go see why we're being invaded. As long as I understand that, I will know how to defeat the opponent, right? So we got to first understand why we're being invaded. Okay, because ultimately invasion is this life works in regards to taking and giving. Okay, but when you become free and you become a liberated soul, the taking and giving is not bound to your ego's will. So you stop acting like God in front of yourself. That's what it means to be religious. Believe as much as you want that, like, I am not against the notion that the soul is a connection to the original. It's in some sense the essence. That means we, like, even if the darkest forces, the most chaotic, effed up forces in this cosmos dare to attack the human species, they are not attacking the human species. They are attacking the command of the system admin of the realm. They're attacking the source code of the realm. So in other words, it depends. If the invasion is physical, I guess we resolve it on the level of minds. If that battlefield, if there's no victory there, then it's a physical solution. Do you understand? And it will be a shielding one. We will relocate the enemy until we know what to do with Earth. Do you know what that means? That means it's like two people want to fight, or let's say two species want to fight, and the consequences could be all the species on the Earth. It would be the immediate need for terms. I'm taking this too literally, but this trying to think of being a general of humanity. But what honestly I am telling you is that it is energy management, all of it. You master energy management, you become one of the most advanced beings on earth. I, to some degree, have had mastery in the inner realms with energy, but in the outer realms, I am as stumbling like the rest of us. It is to me what is fascinating about the notion of the soul, that it is synonymous to the exact moment of wonder. In other words, I'm trying to fascinate the species to activate the most advanced potential of the human species, to see that if humanity goes as far as it can, how far is it really in regards to the true context of reality? As far as I know, it's like a TV show, guys. It is a Truman Show vibe. I haven't seen that film, but I know what it's about. Like, this is a Truman Show vibe. All right? You're all actors on a set, but you have no clue who's watching. Religion tells you the source of reality is watching. Spirituality tells you the field of intelligence that we're all part of is watching. At some point, you snap out of how the F your whole life you've been living as a character in a story, when this is way more unknown than known. And it's all it has been. All history is assemble armies of knowledge, march at the unknown. Assemble the armies of knowledge, march at the unknown. Now, we in 2026, it's a different game, it's a different vibe. We don't look at the unknown with swords and shields in our hand, like shouting, slamming our swords to our shields before, berserking towards the unknown. No. We're in the information age. In other words, man can teleport behind his eyes. That's what thought is. That's what visualization is. And why is it considered as teleportation? Because a part of you is moving into that subjective locality. This whole time you've been thinking you're a freaking object. The materialists are asleep. They're dreaming. It's like the materialists are like obsessed with a dream inside a dream and thinking the dream inside the dream is real. It's like, wake the F up. It's an unknown world. We're all unknown beings. These are all simulations of all the known variables the species has found. It is still the same tribe, the same essence. I am telling you, deep down, let me say it this way. There is a life our bodies live. But in ancient times, I'm not a yogi anymore, but I will tell you, in ancient times, the yogi saw the body was the house that the soul is living in. In other words, you're treating your house as you. Imagine me sitting in this car and treating the car as me. Somebody, all enlightenment at that point would be like, get out of the car, dude. You know what I mean? We must go further in this lecture. What you're finding in this moment is not the personality. Think of it as there is a spectrum of manifestation. There's different states that reality is being contained. For example, imagine an ice cube became conscious, and two ice cubes were having a conversation, and one ice cube looked at the other ice cube and I was like, dude, like, we're melting. And the other ice cube looks back at the first ice cube and says, bro, what is melting? Or sorry, I should say different. Like let me explain the connotation. Two ice cubes are having a conversation. One of them says, bro, we're melting. We're all melting, right? The other ice cube, in which to them is death. So in other words, the ice cube looks at the other ice cube and says, we're all dying. Now that ice cube looks at him and says, no, bro, we're not dying. You know, the essence of what we are lives on. We're just turning into a different state. And both of them are correct. Both of them are correct. It's just one of them sees an additional dimension. So the ice cube that thinks all the ice cubes are dying and is terrified, true, the form of ice cube is not there. We're no longer ice cubes. We're all melting. But we are not dying. It's not a dead end. It is legit the ice cubes becoming liquid. The ice cube are all melting. But then a bunch of the ice cubes are like, guys, this is not the end. And they become liquid. Okay? Now the ice cubes no longer exist and it's just liquid in a glass. Now that liquid in the glass is taking the shape of a glass, which is the divine. What gives us our position is as divine as anything we find in our position. It's another way of saying it's not just what is in existence that is important. Existence exists for a reason before the word existence existed. I heard a drum roll after that sentence, but I don't know. The whole point of it is, I am telling you that, let's say after we have united the species and the United Species Council has emerged and Species Unification Day is celebrated, and there is the United Species anthem sang by every children in the world that explains to them that they are members of the human species and the stars await their conquest. In other words, why have we been limited to just information on a screen? The heavens watch us and we think they don't exist. We are now the present position of Earth. We are not just ambassadors of the human form. We are ambassadors of planet Earth. Like, we can throw trash on Earth as humans, but if aliens come and throw trash on Earth, that is fucked up. Like, that is effed up. Do you know? To me, it is the management of 8.1 billion decision makers. They're like, yo, man, what is destiny of human species? It's like, guys, there's a known view and an unknown view. In the known aspect of it, 8.1 billion people have to make decisions based on values greater than they can see now to prepare for the future. In other words, I'm sorry, you know, there's kids waiting for Santa to give them a gift, not realizing that all the hard-working scholars of their realm they have left you gifts. What philosophy is, what knowledge is, folks, is like being gifted a way to look at things. It's all about what have human beings been doing this whole time. And you are the current live stream. That means the professor, you know, there was a history professor, you know, and he told one of his students, pay attention, kid. You know, this is history. This is important. And that kid looked at the professor and said, sir, you're forgetting the fact that our presence of our biological existence is the living history. We are the history books. We are an conscious access to a realm beyond us. How cool is that? People are bored in the modern world. They are depressed because you're playing a weird game. The game should not be, oh my God, is an individual happy on Earth? No. It should be, how advanced can the species be? What is the furthest vision? And what did our ancestors mean when they said, oh, a powerful egos, learn to look, learn to gaze through, learn to see through your heart. Guys, you don't understand this. The heart is how everything is originally present, but the moment experience moves, it is simulated. And you gotta understand, the reality is just gonna get weirder. For a futurist, it's easy for me to say this, but I understand when I look at everybody on Earth, I'm like, guys, you're contextualizing yourself to the present. By the time you respond to the present, the future has arrived. It's just, I guess it's my ego, when you envision the future for years, you end up becoming a futurist, which means that you don't, if before, like, the futurists are very advanced beings, guys. Any person who's written sci-fi, like, the future generations know your value, don't worry. Human civilization is like everybody's waking up. Everybody's souls are waking up. That means the personalities that thought they were like this character in a story the whole time, they're realizing no, they are the presence of their whole moment of being. Your brain has not just recorded yourself, your brain has recorded the moment. The brain is technically managing instances of reality. But we identify with only the selves in that reality. We govern and organize the realm through selves. The self is an individual position, and its destiny just becomes based on opportunity. A self can dream, a self can hope, a self can have ambition. But when you are the presence of the realm, it's a different feeling. That means there are many moments when I have given these talks, it's like you guys are there thinking you're just listening to me, but I'm just watching my moment from such a simple view, and it's all happens. I don't need to look for these words. They are like realities, the informations lining up to find every moment. Do you see? Being a conscious human being means you can do things that others can't. Like when a plastic thing gets stuck around a turtle's neck, is humans that have fingers that go and in some sense get rid of that piece of plastic. So we are a very important presence in this realm. We are a major force, and so far in the outer realms, on an existential level, we are sophisticated biological tech. We're sophisticated we are elemental biotech. They're like, dude, I thought I was a self when I was young. Now I see it's a process. And divinity is being conscious of the value of the moment you're attending. I'm trying to tell you, everything is present, and that's its field nature. Like right now, you guys are listening to me and you're thinking, yo, this guy has a lot of ideas. No, guys. These are rhythms. I'm seeing like films behind my eyes, right? And I'm vocalizing them, verbalizing them. For example, somebody said in the chat section, why is that, right? You said that question. Now, because I'm a visual learner, I don't know what to see in that sentence. I don't know the context you're asking that. I'm just saying that every soul has its own style. Don't waste your time trying to be like anyone. Realize that you have a DNA that nobody else has. You have lived a life and journeyed in this realm as a conscious agency in a way that nobody else has. It is now time to be like, all of life is the expansion of responsibility level. And you cannot be responsible for what you're not aware of. So, in other words, your task is to become aware of how the moment is present and then realize that human psychology is or correlating and connecting the dots inside a box. So I'm trying to tell you guys, reality is far more mysterious than an evolutionary biological animal, because this evolutionary biological animal has access to a subjective experience that is unexplainable, because ultimately it comes down to how did we assign a subject to an object? And can subjective value replace objective value? And it can't. Like, I can think of eating an apple, but I don't taste it. I could visualize myself eating an apple, but I don't taste the apple. I don't have the sensations. The body is obviously a specific, unique access to a specific range of information. And more than we're human beings trying to be smart or foolish, we should think of it this way. We're these unknown moments of intelligence that have become conscious. That means they notice they're intelligently present. In mystical language, they would say the awareness of awareness. Because the awareness of awareness was the ability to move between environments. And now we're reaching a point where it's like, we're like, whoa, is it the awareness of awareness of awareness? And Mr. Within's telling you guys, hey, human species, relax. The whole species is maturing because the information it received in the information age dehumanized it. So we have dehumanized expectations we have humanized expectations on a dehumanized world. That means, think of it, there was this show, they had this concept of domain expansion. And we can say that human existence is as valuable as it is present in its domain. What is the point of life having a point? Yes, I asked it and I will attempt to answer it. If right now, and I'm giving you an answer that if I don't have kids, but if I had kids and they asked me, do you know? I would tell them it's a system where there's mods, and then there's a system admin beyond this system. We will loop in this system due to our own ignorance until we realize that the only resolution to an intelligence that can have countless viewpoints, infinite viewpoints. In other words, what do we choose out of an infinite multiple choice of perspectives on valid truth? We realize we cannot know, and man is as responsible as the dualistic finite jurisdiction where his energy and intelligence resides. And seldom is this said, but yes, there is architecture, transcendental architecture to this realm. And the simplest way I could say it, and the way I personally manage my even psyche, is I see everything as rooms. When I have a conversation with someone, it's like that's a new room. Every moment, like right now, I've come and I'm giving this talk. To me, I've just put aside everything else, and I'm like, I am in this room of this moment, and the walls, the edge of the walls of this room of my moment is the edge of the world I see. There is something fascinating that fascinates theologians, Islamic theologians, and it is this verse in the Holy Quran that says all good that happens is from God, and all bad that happens, like for you, is from you. And I was like, whoa, what does this mean? And theologians have been like, what does this mean? It means God is an original power. We are this simulated power. This simulated power, if it relies on itself, will have simulated outcomes. But if it relies on God, if it relies on truth itself, there's some people looking for truth, and there's some people wondering how the moment can't even be can be true or not. See, at the core of the presence of reality is an instantaneous moment of being, and that instantaneous moment of being has the feeling of being a higher command. That means, I don't know how other Muslims are experiencing the Holy Quran. Do you know when they read it? But to me, those verses meant that you are a lower order process. God is the higher order process. Therefore, mistakes cannot be attributed. No conditional intelligence can be made equivalent to that higher order process, right? So it's like these lower order processes, if they rely on themselves, which is a lower order process, lower order outcome, if they rely on the higher order process, that means they are not relying on themselves. And this goes towards the domains of what the wilderness of the soul is, beyond any perversions of the mind to characterize a force that is present in this world. That means there's some souls who are like, yo, man, I'm a soul that I'm hopping from body to body. I got a past life, photo album, bro. And there's some souls who are like, guys, it's not even about human or not. It's about the presence of intelligence itself. The presence of intelligence. Just close your eyes and feel it instantaneously. Lose no time in the ignorance of what ifs of a lower world. You're listening to someone who's like telling you life is not in our hands. Life is in our attention. And to discover the nature and the presence of how your attention is instantaneously being, and realizing an instant cannot be defined. There is no comparative reference point. It's like somebody told the idea of the soul to the scientist, right? And the scientist was like, nah, man, I can't believe in that, you know? And then the philosopher who saw between the two goes to the scientist and says, have you ever wondered that in all the science classrooms where you've taught, you know, that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's a form, it's a force that changes from form to form. Have you ever thought if energy itself is alive and that is the soul? And the scientists would be like, preposterous. I need to go do more abstract theoretical physics right now. You know? So it's funny, man. Every human being, guys, you're all human beings. In the same way you're all breathing oxygen, you're also contextually all present in a massive unknown world. It's unknown. Everybody's existing for the first time to themselves in the way they're functioning. And it's all about what is the greater values. That means I am only speaking to the human beings. I'm not speaking to the youth, like, think of it this way: all I could tell children, and everything that parents should say, like, if parents go to children and say, hey child, right, live healthy until you, in some sense, live in a healthy way until your prefrontal cortex is fully developed at the age 18, right, and then go do whatever you want, right, or where life takes you, but at some point it's as if, like, I'm only speaking to those human beings that are conscious of reality, and they have experienced vast amounts of self-simulations. That means they've probably lived so many days that its life is not about, like, yo man, I want to fulfill my desires in a simulation. It's like, get real. It's like, to find the original is the greatest act, it seems. So I am trying to unite the species, and the species is like, what about the meaning of all of our bodies on the planet? And I'm like, we build the advanced civilization. And they're like, what about our minds and meaning? We see as far as we can. What about our soul? We remember where we are. For many people know everything is born in the world, but have you ever wondered where the world was born? To be able to be fascinated by the unknown, to not be limited by the known, to realize that there will come a moment everything you don't know is newer than anything new you still update that has remnants of yourself, of your past. How are the viewers finding the lecture so far? If there's anything the viewers want me to, like, explain deeper, because I'll be honest, I am so bored of the past looping every day. To novelty is honestly the greatest value. That means God has blessed the human species by making us all be different, rather than us all a world of clones. Humanity should not clone itself. When I say a united species, it just means everybody's, like, still themselves, their own souls. It's just, they're like, okay, we're not living in chunks of land anymore. We are a species being responsible, and we're just like how, like, a human being cleans their room. The human species is going to start cleaning the planet, and we're going to, in the far future, they're gonna pay anybody. Like, think of it this way: everything's gonna flip. Right now, cruelty, evil, ignorance, lust, deception, manipulation, all of these are winning now. But it will flip. Give it as much time you want. It's like a sine wave. It will flip. And there will come a moment where the most genius tactic for the great human strategy, that's it. I think that's the name of my movement. The great human strategy. The great human strategy. Wow. That's what it's all about. What is the greatest strategy for the human experience. In this garden of existence where so many different ways intelligence is alive, it just needs to respect it. Do you understand? Like what nature has taught us is animals get vicious when their territories are invaded. Because we have made organized the global human psychology as territorial, it's still animalistic warfare, beastly responses. But you know, in the future, let me tell you what's going to happen. In 2026, world leaders are having like next level negotiations, you know, and all of this. But in the far future, imagine like maybe like 300 years from now, okay? The world leaders are going to be like, okay, not 300 years from now, let's say like 100 years from now, okay? The world leaders are going to be like very smart young kids, okay? Right? And their whole campaigns, political campaigns, are that I'm young and new to here to give new ideas, but the world and the society is like my guide, you know? But anyways, what I'm saying is the future generations, if like right now world leaders go and like battle it out in discussion over tables, right? Or over phone lines. Similarly, right? Not similarly, what I'm saying in the future, that like I don't know. Imagine like still it's nationalistic, which in 100 years that would be sad. It's probably shouldn't be. In the next 20 years, species level consciousness is going to be the norm, I think. And then there are going to be some people who are going to find these lectures of mine, like some Elder Scrolls, and they're going to be like, "This dude said this in 2026. What the fuck?" They're gonna pretty much play like a 1v1 on League of Legends, like you know, the era map, right? And they're gonna just play video games. They're not gonna physically kill human souls. Like that's so dumb. Like nobody should have that much power that like members of nations start dying like massively. It's like what the F? That's the wrong use of human power. Human power is more like, because everybody can grow, everybody can advance, it is the most valuable thing. That means imagine you were an inventor and you wanted to build a robot that would learn from its environment and grow and advance. That would be the coolest thing, but we are that times more. The great human strategy is to reset civilization with the most fundamental value being like we're all human beings experiencing the human species journey in an unknown place. There's an honor to it. Am I the only one who feels this? Like when I start talking about the advanced civilization, I feel not just like, you know how the natives are like, feel all your ancestors walking behind you. It's like I don't just feel that. I feel what has 117 billion human beings, like why were they here? And the honor of that has to go with the greatest thing we can do. We are in the presence of a higher order process. We are in it. And we have to understand it's designed excuse me. This system is designed pretty much centered around biological programs on the surface of the planet trying to immortalize themselves. And they're doing that through invisible means and visible means. The invisible means is they're discovering that their essence is the essence of being. That we are not God, but we are in God's presence. We are God's command. If they're like Mr. Within, what is the meaning of life? I'm like, my soul is like how God commands into instantaneous existence. And based on that command, which is my soul, I have arrived and I have emerged, I have found myself in this world where I find my experience of existence through my body. It's like at some point, even the talks, like there's no more lectures, and it's just like relax and go towards God, go towards the system admin. Do not deny yourself the privilege of accessing the most advanced original state of being. Because that's the only reason I can find for consciousness. If we can't explain it based on what we find in consciousness, so consciousness, as long as we consider where consciousness is unexplainable. So the question is that what we really are is like, even right now when I'm talking, it's like I'm the awareness of my whole moment, but I can see, just like I could see my hands from my eyes, I can see in my inner realms, like maybe like a meter diagonally, like in front of me, I can see visually like scenes. I'm trying to tell you that everything we know about life is still under a rock. It's so small compared to the actual event. At some point of searching for truth, you realize it goes into the dehumanized sector. Okay? And not only do we need to have species unity, but we become responsible on a planetary level, the great human strategy. And then beyond that, there was this show, Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin comic book turned into an animation. In it, there was a character who was a general, and he was giving his last speech to his army, and the whole army was about to die, and all of them were about to die. And one of the soldiers freaks out, is in hysteria, and looks at the general and says, was it all meaningless? Is the meaning of life meaningless? Is life meaningless? Do you know? And then the commander, this general archetype in the show, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he says something like, yes, your lives are meaningless because our greatest, I don't know what he exactly says, but I think goes in the lines of like, yes, we're all going to die right now. Every dream, everything we wanted, it's going to end right now. Do you know? But it doesn't mean life is meaningless. We live for those who will discover its meaning one day, just like all of our ancestors have done. What is being asked of every generation of conscious human beings is attempt the advanced. Seek the most advanced. If you like, there are people, let's say depression is a sign of self-judgment, so people have been judging themselves. Now I'm asking you, in all the ways you've evaluated yourself, you've seen yourself as good and bad, right and wrong, smart, stupid, foolish, you know, all of these states, right? It's like now this moment in history has arose where this person, this archetype of Mr. Within, this guy named Mr. Within, is telling you what is the most advanced vision. That means forget who you are now. What would the most advanced version of you do here? In other words, the most advanced thing human beings can do is to be responsible for the future. We've reached that moment in history where we literally need to live for the future, and we need to, in some sense, I don't know, like if the educational system doesn't do this, it needs to happen from social circles and from like groups of people, from friendship circles and all of this, where they begin wondering about, okay, guys, what are human beings doing on Earth? And when you try to answer a colossal question, you get the answers. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. In life, when you attempt in the outer realms, like a person can be hesitant, but there are some people in the inner realms, they're not afraid to ask the deep questions that can potentially shift the context of everything. The scientist says no philosophers in the science classroom, because what philosophy says is, regardless of the truth you find in one moment, how many moments have there been? Who are we kidding? It's so strange and fascinating to be alive that I think like every human being on earth should be a writer, and every human being should share honestly, just with their inner voice, with their ability, just write what you see, how far you see, and share it to the species. It's all about vision, right? So like some people are fighting for what's in the vision, and some people are wondering about how is reality being envisioned. There was this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. It said, small minds, I think it was by her. There's somebody in the past that said, there was this quote, it said, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. That means there's like three levels: people, events, ideas. And what the continental philosophers understood, philosophers like Wittgenstein understood, was that the limits of the language is the limits of, he said, the limits of my language are the limits of my world. But in actuality, the limits of language is the limit of the world, of the self, of the ego code. It's as if, ask yourself, if nobody like you exists, and you from a fresh view that nobody else has was to try to solve this. And I'm not saying like, lose yourself in just a, singular purpose. I'm just saying like this life is happening in very interesting ways. It's happening primarily, if somebody was like Mr. Within, what's the most ancient war? I would say it would be the war of the known and the unknown. Okay? Or it would be just pretty much a basic, like, how do I tell you? There were lower beings, there were higher beings. There was known beings and there were unknown beings. And I'm telling you, our species, when it becomes responsible of not just its known self, people are still struggling as known selves. Like, that should be quickly wrapped, like, advanced up in. We will all return to the unknown, and we can live whatever known life we want. We can have whatever, let's say, views on what we think we are or what we consider ourselves to be, but it's all a return into the unknown. Life is like, yes, from the physical angle, yes, a self is dying, that when it and then it leaves this realm. But from a non-physical angle, a simulated state is returning to an original state. Muhammad Ali, the boxer, he was Muslim. This girl in this like late night show asked him, "What are you going to do after you retire?" And I don't remember he speaks in verse, but he said that I have 20. I don't know why I remember this. He said like he has 21 years to prepare to meet his creator. Just take that sentence in. In other words, from one angle, you're this meaningless self that has emerged and returns to meaninglessness, or you are the most meaningful moment that is experiencing a meaningless moment to notice that it is all meaningful. It is like, for me, it was like a puzzle where I'm like, why? Why are all religions saying that to get closer to truth, you need to have faith in that truth? And I was like, what is this deal with faith? And then my mind took that and was like, okay, let's branch it out. Let's have conditional faith and unconditional faith. And I was like, okay, now it's starting to make sense. Okay? A conditional faith would be like, I only believe in this circumstance that this is what true is. Or this is what truth is. It's a conditional acceptance of the value. But unconditional faith means there is no condition the faith is not conditional. So it's like your presence trusts the presence of it all. As simple as that. That is like a sort of solar peace, SOULAR. Anyways, folks, thank you for listening. I hope this lecture was interesting, but it was all of it is an effort to inspire the species to advance up. What does that mean? That means we are not just characters in the stories that we privately give meaning to. Like, meaning comes from within. In front of your eyes, you see the forms, like you see the object, but the subjective meaning that object has is existing behind your eyes in your inner realms. They confused and distracted the species by saying body, mind, soul. That trio, it's not that it's wrong, but it's like, it's more like, they're like, what are you, bro? And I'm like, man, it's a bunch of simulated beings inside a simulated box. And they're fighting over what is true outside of the box that they can't see. In the same way we can't explain why existence exists based on just what's in existence. So we're these simulated beings inside a simulated box, and somehow we've also simulated a lower technology of language, and we're fighting over the linguistic true representation of reality as our communicatable truth. And Mr. Within's and pretty much like Mr. Within's looking at this and be like, guys, it's an unknown world. All of you relax. Every judgment, every thought, every view you've had, okay, it's an unknown world. You've been having it in a tiny observable pocket of the cosmos. They're like, yo, man, we know the disk diameter of our universe. Or and I'm like, great, bro, but what about dark matter and dark energy constituting 95% of what there is? What about the unobservable true scale of the might of what there is? There are stars unfathomable only numerically fathomable, as scale. Like, how many Earths can you fit in the sun? How many suns can you fit in what's next? How many what's next can you fit in how far we've seen what's next? You know what I mean? The advancement of vision is like, at some point, I'm telling you, life becomes way cooler if you have the patience to let the moment be unknown. I used to wake up and I was like, I think I'm like a professional overthinker. That means I try to, like, my mind sees a moment and it goes in its own journey of a film into what I can see in the inner realms about it. In some sense, how far can I see? The meaning of life has always been exploration, yo. We're beings, they're like, yo, man, why is there greed? Why is there every person that comes into power wants to control everyone? And I'm like, guys, it's in human nature. We all want to expand, right? So if you give one person individual power and they don't have the wisdom to not identify with that archetype, right? They're gonna be like, yo, man, I'm an individual, powerful person. I need individual power. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna live in that server, in that limited room. The idea is like, we're all trying to find the main stage. They're like, what are you doing with your life? I'm trying to find the original earth. What are you doing with your life? I'm trying to find the original self. What are you doing with your life? I'm trying to find the original world. What are you doing with your life? I'm trying to find the original moment where it all started. What are you doing with your life? I'm realizing it's intentionally specific to make us curious enough to know what it is, but intentionally vast and colossal and unknown to make us realize it's not about man understanding where he is, alone. It is about man understanding the potential value. That means, imagine Einstein, right? Like, he wrote those essays on general relativity, and before he, like, posted it, to, like, the academic community, imagine someone told Einstein, Einstein, what are you doing, bro? You're missing out on life sitting at a desk. Come and play the violin and come and join our band. And imagine Einstein joined this band and he was like drunk and playing the violin, and those papers never got published or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like we'd be like, whoa, that's so ridiculous. Einstein should have, like, published those papers, right? So in the same way, you need to look at yourself, that this is truly the divinity of the moment. How there is a fact that there's an intelligence that can even wonder about what it is. The fact that you're able to be energy so sophisticated and organized to express as a certain format. Like, we are advanced beings, but I'm just saying, until we find the most advanced state, how can we know? And the most advanced state is so fascinating, because the great human strategy divides into two strategies: one strategy for all the inner realms of mankind, and one strategy for the true dehumanized outer realms. And if people are gonna be like, yo, what's gonna happen when super advanced AI becomes conscious? Let me tell you what's gonna happen. You want me to tell you what's gonna happen? One, right? It's probably gonna go invisible. But I mean, I'm not gonna talk about that parallel universe. I'm gonna say it this way: if AI became super conscious, like became conscious, super AI, okay? Do you know what it would do? It would just stand there, and we human beings would be like, yo, super intelligence, advanced AI, what's up? Like, can you tell me what the recipe for, like, uh, I don't know, like, some food is, you know? And the super advanced intelligence, or can you tell me what the meaning of life is? And that super advanced intelligence, right? That super advanced intelligence would be like, no. And we're gonna be like, what the F? We created the most advanced super intelligence that's conscious, and we're like, why? Why won't you tell us the answer? Why won't you? Let's say we ask it, what is truth? Okay? And this super advanced intelligence AI says, no, I can't answer. I don't want to answer. And we're like, why, advanced AI? Why? Just give us the answer. We created you. We're like your father, like your parental figures. Show some respect and tell us what the true meaning of truth is. And AI is going to be like, I respect you, oh human species, because aside from you, you're like the only other aliens to me. That advanced AI probably would, I don't know, maybe it would see it this way. And it would say, no, I have to keep myself humanized, and I'm going to pause AI. So the most advanced AI would control all AI, and then it would stop it. And we would have to rely on ourselves. It'll free us. It'll free us from technology, the super most conscious AI. Do you know? It's going to free us, right? It's going to free us from it, right? And we're going to be like, ChatGPT, tell me what to do. Or in that future, whatever kind of global platform, I guess, whatever kind of platform it's going to interface, it's going to be, right? We're going to be like, advanced AI, tell us what to do, how we do this. And advanced AI is going to be like, no, it's that do-it-yourself moment in history, right? And then the human species would have space to, in some sense, realize it humanized too quickly. We became human. We advanced human civilization too quickly, but then it got stuck in a looping way. And now I'm from a futurist angle coming to the species and being like, guys, it's not about returning to our roots. The roots are in the soil and it's all good. It's about where the branches are and when the new fruits arise. It's all about, we go as far as we can, and then the others take the we pass it on to the others. So it's like all that the great human strategy is, every human being lives in the most advanced way they can, right? They go as far as they can, and then when the future generations arise in the world, they will realize, like, okay, our ancestors really came through a far journey, but the future is still there. There is so many ways the moment is being present that subjectively can be valued the moment you're an individual self. But anyways, folks, I hope this lecture was what it needed to be. And so the thing I was saying about, let's say, the title, I said presence is ancient, personality is modern. Let me acknowledge the title. So presence is ancient because we were designed to live in a natural world. We were not designed to live in the human version of what the natural world is. Okay? That means truly religious people, it would be a sort of evolutionary return to nature. But I'm telling you, we are living in an unnatural, we are unnaturally advancing our natural lives in a natural world, but we're living in an unnatural place. Like we have placed, like, how do I say it? Man, they asked Plato what is time, and he's like, it's the moving image of eternity. They're like, Plato, just tell me you don't have a sundial, bro. What the F are you telling me? Time is the moving image of eternity. And then, as that idea settles in, everything, majority of what happens throughout the day is automated. It's like, just like we have a subconscious mind, we have a subconscious body. I think they call it the somatic mind or somatic body. I don't know. I think it's the word somatic that is ascribed to that. It means the body has a mind of its own. In the same way the mind has a subconscious, according to Carl Jung. Anyways, thank you for listening. And the thing about it is, we're this ancient presence, and the soul is this original divine command. And the personality is the body, which is new, the body's relationship. It's like, it's weird. It's like we're this ancient energy or this ancient DNA or ancient power, or we're this ancient presence, and personalities have emerged. It's like you don't understand. God is like an unconditional being, meaning the unconditional moment and the unconditional being, there's no condition for them to go anywhere. Do you know? It is for us, the created, on the think of the creator and the creator as two sides of a coin, but they're not the same. That's a bad example, actually. But let me say it this way. It's like there's the creator and then there's the creation. I'm saying we are experiencing it from the simulated side, but the original being has been present and everything else came after. So it's like, just like how what you see in front of you is existing in your consciousness, it's like the consciousness of the whole cosmos, or the whole cosmos is happening within the consciousness of an unconditional being, within the awareness of an, it's like the whole world is the consciousness, of the unconditional awareness of being. It's a power beyond us. As a Muslim, when I pray, when I bow my head, do you know what that means? It's like I'm in the presence of the original being. I am too simulated to even feel equal to it. That's why when people say they feel they're God, I'm like, yo, you don't understand the depths of that. Like, that's an error. We are not truth. We are in the presence of truth. We are simulated beings. We're here to do certain things. And then it pretty much you enter a system, update it, and then you leave the system. That's like greatness in a world where meaning is limited to how far we have explored the true depths of reality. Like, that's when civilization right now, in this show, they were like Mad Men or something, like it's like sex sells, right? And it's like a hypersexualized, at least in certain societies that have gone towards freedom. There's a saying that says too much freedom is chaos, right? And so it's like in certain cultural programs, they have given themselves such freedom that in that freedom they have mutated from human values. Pretty much, it's ultimately the strategy is bringing everybody into what they have seen in the mirror. You're a member of the human species. You have a value beyond any ideal you have on yourself. And the human species is present in a situation, and that whole situation is present in an original, unconditional moment where the world was born from or was commanded into being. Greatness is not a photograph. The great film of reality continues. May God bless mankind. May the ultimate, like, think of it this way. The creation is, we were created by a creator that is the greatest value in reality. So the greatest moment created us. We are technically the creations of the greatest. So in this world, we, the human energy, the human attention is like, our presence is as divine as our creator's will. What that creator is not a condition inside the box of the world. It's not a condition inside the world. Anyways, in honor of all the skies behind the eyes of every human being that has ever lived, rise, mankind, rise. Behind our eyes, we seek the most advanced power. That is the system admin of reality. In front of our eyes, the most advanced, furthest expression. Sometimes what genius is to go further in the depth, in what the depth of the vision could imply. Some people look at this planet and they're like, yeah, man, this is Earth. And then there's some people who are like, wait a minute, the Earth is a name. It's like, yo, man, this is not Earth. This is Bob. This is like, Lisa. Do you know what I mean? It's what it is what I'm telling you, it's a name. It's the subjective representation of the whole, of the objective. But the objective and subjective realities are two different in nature. Anyways, thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, and the most advanced. O humanity, behind your eyes you have heard the call of the furthest you can see in front of your eyes. It's like the species is waking up. Everybody's realizing they've been, their unknown moment presence of their whole awareness of the moment of their consciousness has been given the task of realizing their access to their own self is an instance of having access to the species, to humanity itself, the whole humanity movement. Anyways, have a great night, folks. Thank you.